This was posted last night. Netflix's Q2 report came out, and apparently they lost 1 million subscribers in the second quarter of this year, which we already saw that at the beginning of the year, they lost 200,000. The next month, they lost another couple 100,000, and they had projected that they were going to lose a couple million over the next few months. I don't really think people believed it, but it happened.
Millions of people are canceling their Netflix subscriptions. Why Netflix stock is absolutely tanking right now. I mean, it is just collapsing totally in the red. And you can see that it is on a massive downward slope this month. It's cratering. Why is that happening exactly?
I'm the most annoying guy on set because I'm saying, excuse me, you do realize that this should be happening and they wouldn't do that, and you haven't read this, that means this would be impossible. And everyone's just going, Henry, just shut up and do the thing. And I'm like, I don't want to do the thing because he wouldn't do it this way, and he can do this.
Were you familiar with this, the Watcher before you, The Witcher?
The Witcher,
before you started?
I hadn't seen the TV show, and I hadn't read the book.
Yeah. And that's where you start to get more uncomfortable when you're thinking, there's not a performance.
The Witcher Season 4 trailer just dropped. And honestly, it's chaos.
What the f*** is this piece of shit?
Fans are furious, social media's on fire, and Liam Hemsworth, the guy who's stepping into Henry Cavill's legendary boots, just did something that's got everyone talking for all the wrong reasons. See, when Henry Cavill walked away from The Witcher, fans were already skeptical. But now, after this trailer, it's like a full-blown in the fandom.
And you have a sense that you're going, is this really necessary?
Within hours of release, the trailer racked up millions of views. But what really stood out weren't the numbers. It was the comment section. Savage doesn't even begin to describe it. Dislikes piled up, memes flooded X and Reddit, and within hours, hashtags like #NotMyGeralt and #Cavill was right were trending worldwide. You had fans calling it a betrayal, saying Netflix turned one of the best fantasy series of the decade into what they called, and I quote, a budget cosplay disaster. And just when you thought the backlash couldn't get any worse, Liam Hemsworth decided to speak up. But instead of calming things down, he went off. He didn't just offend himself, he blamed the fans. In a fiery podcast appearance that's now going viral, Liam snapped back, saying people were being unwilling to accept change, and that fans were stuck living in Henry Cavill's shadow. That one clip lit a match under an already burning fire. So what really happened here? Why are fans this angry? And did Liam Hemsworth just make the biggest PR mistake of his career? Let's break down how The Witcher Season 4 went from one of Netflix's biggest fantasy hits to a full-scale fan war. When Netflix dropped The Witcher Season 4 trailer, fans were expecting something, maybe a tease that would at least justify Cavill's absence. But what they got instead? A shockwave. The trailer opens with sweeping shots of the continent, the same haunting music, the same monsters, the same epic scale. But the second Liam Hemsworth's face appeared, everything changed. There was this split second of silence, that moment of realization. And then, boom, the dislike counter shot up like wildfire. Within minutes, people were screen recording their reactions, posting side-by-sides of Cavill's Geralt versus Liam's version, and the tone online flipped overnight. One fan tweeted, "This isn't Geralt of Rivia, this is GeraltofWish.com." Another said, "Liam looks like he's playing Geralt at a Halloween party, not in a Netflix production." The criticism was savage and weirdly united. Even casual fans, the ones who didn't follow all the drama when Cavill left, started chiming in. They said something just felt off. And it's not just the looks. People pointed out everything. The voice sounded lighter, the movements less grounded, the energy just wrong. Henry Cavill's Geralt had this weight, this lived-in warrior vibe that made you believe every scar, every growl, every quiet moment. Liam's version? Fans said it looked like someone imitating that, not becoming it. Reddit threads exploded overnight. The top post on r/The Witcher had over 50,000 upvotes in less than a day with the title, "We waited 2 years for this?" The top comment summed it up perfectly. They didn't just lose Henry Cavill, they lost the soul of the show. And here's where it gets worse. The trailer's like to dislike ratio became a meme in itself. Fans started screenshotting it, tagging Netflix, tagging Liam, tagging the showrunners, saying, maybe if you listened to Cavill instead of fighting him, this wouldn't be happening. The thing is, everyone remembers why Cavill left. He wasn't just the lead actor, he was the lore guy. He understood the Witcher universe better than anyone in the writer's room. When the showrunners reportedly started drifting away from the books and games, Cavill pushed back. And now, seeing this trailer, fans are saying, so this is exactly what he was warning about. So instead of excitement, the trailer's release turned into a global fan protest. It wasn't, look how amazing the new Witcher looks. It was, this isn't The Witcher anymore. And in the middle of this storm, just when Netflix's PR team was probably pulling all-nighters trying to contain the damage, Liam Hemsworth decided to speak. And that's where things really started to spiral. A few days after the trailer backlash exploded, Liam Hemsworth appeared on a podcast that was supposed to be a lighthearted promo for the show. You know the kind. Some laughs, a few behind-the-scenes stories, maybe a tease about what fans can expect. But what happened instead was a full-blown PR disaster. The host brought up the backlash, casually, almost like a joke, saying fans can be pretty intense online. How are you dealing with that reaction to the trailer? Liam smiled at first, but then something shifted. His tone got sharper, his body language tense, and what came out next shocked everyone. He said, "Honestly, I think people just don't like change. They get comfortable with one face, one version of a character, and they act like that's the only way it can exist. But stories evolve, people evolve." Then he added a line that made headlines instantly. "If you call yourself a Witcher fan, maybe try acting like one. Because this level of isn't love for the show, it's obsession." The internet exploded. Clips of that quote hit TikTok, X, and YouTube within hours. Fans called it arrogant, dismissive, even gaslighting the audience. Comment sections were filled with people saying, "Imagine blaming the viewers for your bad performance." One viral post summed it up. Henry Cavill respected the fans. Liam Hemsworth blames them. That's the difference. From there, things snowballed. Influencers and entertainment channels jumped on it, dissecting every second of his tone. Some defended him, saying the backlash was too extreme, but the majority didn't hold back, calling it a career-ender moment. Memes poured in. Edits of Liam saying it's the audience's fault played over scenes of the disastrous trailer. Even parody accounts joined in, pretending to be Netflix PR, tweeting, "Please stop talking, Liam." And here's the kicker. Instead of staying quiet afterward, Liam doubled down in a follow-up post. He wrote, "You can't please everyone. If people can't handle something different, that's on them, not me." That post alone racked up over 100,000 comments, most of them angry. The phrase, "that's on them," turned into a meme, with fans using it sarcastically every time a new Witcher clip dropped. In a matter of days, Liam Hemsworth went from the new face of The Witcher to the internet's latest villain. And as the noise kept getting louder, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't just about replacing an actor anymore. It was about loyalty to the fans, to the story, to the spirit of what made The Witcher special. But the question now was, could Netflix even recover from this kind of backlash? Or was season 4 doomed before it ever aired? To understand why this backlash hit so hard, you have to understand what Henry Cavill meant to The Witcher. He wasn't just a lead, he was the heartbeat. When Henry Cavill was Geralt, you could feel that he lived the role. He wasn't playing a fantasy hero, he was one. The tone, the posture, the gravel in his voice, the way he'd pause before delivering a line, all of it was meticulously shaped by someone who knew the lore inside and out. Remember those early interviews? Henry would drop obscure references from Andrzej Sapkowski's books, or talk about the manipulations of Nilfgaard like he was teaching a university class. That level of passion wasn't just rare, it was authentic. Fans felt it, they trusted him. So when he walked away after season 3, fans didn't just lose an actor, they lost their connection to what The Witcher stood for. Cavill's exit felt like the final straw in a long list of disappointments. The uneven writing, the rushed subplots, and the growing sense that Netflix had lost touch with what made the series magical in the first place. Now, fast forward to season 4, and the trailer that should have been a fresh start feels like a reboot nobody asked for. Liam Hemsworth's Geralt looks younger, smoother, and, honestly, cleaner. The rugged intensity Cavill brought, gone. The exhaustion that defined Geralt, the kind that said, "I've seen too much to care," also gone. And it's not necessarily Liam's fault. He's walking into an impossible situation. He's being compared to a fan-favorite actor who became the definitive face of a character that's been beloved for decades. But the way he's handling it, that's what's destroying him in the court of public opinion. Fans can forgive change. What they can't forgive is arrogance. Cavill always handled criticism with class. Even when fans roasted parts of season 2 or accused the writers of ruining the source material, Cavill would smile and say things like, "I believe in the story we're trying to tell. There's always room to grow." He stayed respectful, never blamed fans, never dismissed their passion. Liam, on the other hand, came out swinging. And it's not just that podcast moment, it's the overall energy he's giving off. In interviews, he sounds defensive. In press photos, he looks tense. Even his social media presence feels like someone trying to prove something, not someone embracing the challenge. And fans can sense that. A viral Reddit post summed it up perfectly. Henry was Geralt because he loved the world. Liam wants to be Geralt because it's a career move. That quote hit hard, and it's been shared thousands of times. Because deep down, fans don't just want a new actor to look like Geralt. They want him to believe in it. And here's where things take a darker turn. Rumors started spreading that Cavill himself was quietly aware of the backlash, that his team had been approached for statements but declined. Some fans even claimed he was liking tweets that criticized the new trailer, though that's never been confirmed. Still, the idea that Cavill might be silently watching this unfold only made things worse. Every meme, every comparison video, every side-by-side clip became a reminder of what fans had lost and who they blamed for it. And then, right when the tension reached its peak, Liam Hemsworth did something that shocked everyone. He didn't just defend himself this time, he went off. It happened during what was was supposed to be another routine interview, a live-streamed Q&A hosted by a major entertainment outlet. Everything started off normal. The hosts joked about monsters, costumes, and stunt work. Liam smiled, laughed, gave his usual rehearsed answers. But then one fan question popped up on screen that changed everything. The question read, "How do you respond to fans saying you'll never be their Geralt?" The host chuckled awkwardly, clearly expecting a diplomatic response. But Liam's smile disappeared. He leaned forward and said, "I think that's the problem right there. People acting like they own the show." The room went silent. He kept going. The Witcher isn't about one actor. It's about the world, the story, the art. And if people can't separate fantasy from obsession, then maybe they weren't real fans to begin with. That clip hit the internet like a nuclear bomb. Within an hour, the full video was trending on X with the hashtag Liam Hemsworth meltdown. Fans called it career in real time. Reaction channels dissected every second, slowing it down, analyzing his tone, his expression, his body language. One viral tweet said, "Liam didn't just burn the bridge, he blew up the continent with it." The backlash became so intense that even entertainment journalists started weighing in. Some defended him, saying he was under immense pressure and just cracked. Others said this was the moment fans turned from disappointed to furious. Because here's the thing, by saying maybe they weren't real fans, Liam crossed a line. Fandoms can forgive bad writing. They can forgive casting changes, but insult the audience? That's unforgivable. Within hours, the podcast hosts tried to do damage control, claiming his comments were taken out of context. But the internet doesn't do context. It does clips, short, viral, outrage-fueled clips. Even Netflix's official accounts went quiet. Usually they'd be posting new stills, promoting the release. But after the meltdown, radio silence. Industry insiders started whispering that Netflix PR was in panic mode, debating whether to even let Liam do further press until things cooled down. Meanwhile, Cavill's name was trending again. Fans posted old interviews where Henry talked about serving the story first, or listening to the fans. Every one of those clips was used as ammo against Liam. The internet had spoken, and the verdict wasn't kind. To many, Liam's meltdown didn't just confirm their doubts, it proved them right. And as the memes, parodies, and takedowns flooded YouTube and TikTok, one savage reality became clear. Liam Hemsworth hadn't just lost the fan base, he'd challenged it. But that wasn't the end. Because while Liam was fighting his own battle, Netflix was quietly scrambling behind the scenes, trying to contain the damage before the season's release on October 30th. And what they did next might have made everything worse. If you thought the backlash was bad before, what happened next turned it into internet history. Because after Liam's real fans comment went viral, the online world didn't just react, it mobilized. Within hours, Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit turned the situation into a full-scale digital battlefield. Fans who were already furious over the trailer now had a new target, Liam Hemsworth himself. And the memes? They came fast. One viral TikTok opened with Cavill's stoic Geralt saying, "Winds howling," immediately cutting to Liam's version edited over a kid blowing out birthday candles with the caption, "Storm's over, bro." It got 5 million views overnight. Another meme showed Cavill's Geralt walking away from the Netflix logo as Liam tried to chase him yelling, "Real fans don't leave." It was savage, but also strangely creative. And here's where it got worse. Big content creators started jumping in. Reaction YouTubers who hadn't talked about The Witcher in years suddenly uploaded 20-minute breakdowns with titles like "Liam Hemsworth just ended, his career on camera," or "Netflix's biggest fantasy disaster yet." The story spread beyond the fandom. Entertainment outlets like Screen Binge, Digital Wire, and Collider Weekly all covered the meltdown, each one using a headline that felt more insulting than the last. Liam Hemsworth's Witcher comment spark fan revolt. Netflix's Witcher 4 faces massive backlash before premiere. Henry Cavill's shadow looms over Liam Hemsworth's Geralt. Even journalists started weighing in on the ethics of celebrity entitlement and fan culture. One commentator wrote, "There's a difference between standing your ground and insulting the people who made your career possible. But the thing is, the internet doesn't forget, and it doesn't move on quietly." Reddit became a hub for the Witcher 4 boycott movement. The top thread pinned on r/Netflix releases simply read, "We're not watching. # not my Geralt." Thousands of fans upvoted, pledging to skip the season entirely unless Henry Cavill returned. And on X, fan edits started circulating. Full trailers that replaced Liam's footage with Cavill clips from past seasons, re-edited to look like the real Witcher 4. Some even added AI voice lines from Cavill reading iconic Geralt quotes. Netflix tried to get some of these taken down, but by that point it was impossible to stop. What made it even more chaotic was how divided people became. Some defended Liam, saying fans were being unfair, that they were him before even seeing a full episode. But those voices were drowned out by waves of sarcasm, screenshots, and parody compilations. Even brands got dragged into the mess. One gaming chair company tweeted, "We stand with Geralt, the original one," and it got more engagement than Netflix's own promo post. It wasn't just a PR failure, it was a cultural moment. The Witcher community, once united by their love for the lore, had split into warring factions. On one side, loyal Cavill fans who believed Netflix betrayed both the actor and the story. On the other, a smaller group defending the show's creative choices, insisting fans should give Liam a chance. But it was too late. The damage was already done. And as memes kept piling up and videos kept circulating, something eerie started happening. Henry Cavill's name started trending again, but not because he said anything. He didn't post, didn't comment, didn't like a single thing. Yet somehow, his silence said more than words ever could. Which brings us to the part that truly sealed the deal. The part that made fans realize this wasn't just about casting. It was about legacy. Because no matter how hard Netflix tried to push Liam as the new Geralt, the ghost of Henry Cavill wouldn't leave the continent. In every frame of that new trailer, every marketing post, every defensive interview, one name kept echoing in the background: Henry Cavill. And for Netflix, that was the problem they could never escape. When Cavill left The Witcher, the official line was creative differences. But everyone knew it ran deeper than that. Fans had seen the subtle tension building. Cavill had dropped hints during interviews, the kind that sounded polite but carried weight. He'd say things like, "I'll always fight for Geralt to stay true to Sapkowski's vision." And fans noticed the emphasis on the word fight. So when news broke that Liam Hemsworth would replace him, the narrative practically wrote itself. Cavill wasn't leaving because he was bored. He was leaving because the people running the show weren't listening. To fans, he became the martyr of The Witcher, the man who loved the story too much to stay silent. Now, with Season 4 looming, every new image of Liam as Geralt only reignited that narrative. Fans started digging up old Cavill clips, interviews, convention Q&As, even behind-the-scenes footage, and contrasting them with Liam's interviews. The difference in energy was almost painful. Cavill, calm, thoughtful, deeply connected to the lore. Liam, defensive, frustrated, always trying to prove something. And then came the comparisons. Side-by-side videos flooded YouTube. Cavill's intense stare versus Liam's hesitant glare. Cavill's combat scenes versus Liam's training footage. One viral video titled "Geralt vs. Geralt" and "The Soul vs. the Shadow" hit 10 million views in 2 days. The comment section said it all. Henry didn't play Geralt. He understood him. Liam looks like he's waiting for someone to yell cut. You can't replace passion with PR. Even mainstream media began acknowledging it. Articles with headlines like "Can Liam Hemsworth ever escape Cavill's shadow?" started appearing everywhere. And while Netflix tried to steer the conversation back to new storylines and bold directions, fans just weren't listening. To make things worse, rumors started circulating, totally unconfirmed but juicy enough to trend, that Cavill might be joining another fantasy franchise. Some claimed he was in talks with Amazon for a secret project. Others said he'd signed onto a Warhammer 40K series as both actor and producer. Whether true or not, it painted a clear picture. Cavill had moved on to something bigger, and fans were following him. Meanwhile, Liam was stuck defending a role that had already been decided in the court of public opinion. Even entertainment podcasts started referring to Cavill as the real Witcher. One viral clip from the Filmcast Weekly went, "It's not Liam's fault, but when you replace someone who was the character, the audience doesn't just see a new actor, they see a downgrade." And that right there summed up the whole storm. Because even if Liam Hemsworth delivered an amazing performance, it wouldn't matter. The fandom had already decided who Geralt really was. Netflix wanted to keep the franchise alive. Liam wanted to prove himself, but Henry Cavill? He didn't have to say a word. His silence was louder than anything Netflix or Liam could post. And as October 30th approached, one question echoed across the internet. If the trailer caused this much chaos, what's going to happen when the season actually drops? Behind the scenes, Netflix was in full-blown crisis mode. The Witcher had once been their crown jewel, a show that could rival Game of Thrones, with Henry Cavill's face plastered across billboards, trailers, and Comic-Con stages. But now, the same show that once built Netflix's fantasy empire had become the internet's favorite punchline. According to insiders, the first emergency PR meeting happened less than 24 hours after Liam's "real fans" comment went viral. Executives were scrambling, trying to figure out how to stop the bleeding. Some wanted to release a context statement, others suggested postponing the premiere altogether, a move that would have cost millions. The social media team, meanwhile, was drowning. Every Witcher post, no matter how unrelated, was getting flooded with comments like #BringBackCavill and "We don't want Geralt light." Even Netflix's non-Witcher accounts, like those promoting totally different shows, were getting spammed with Witcher memes. It was a digital wildfire. At first, Netflix tried to push through the chaos. Standard PR tactics, glossy trailers, upbeat interviews, you name it. But nothing landed. Fans had decided the narrative long before the company could spin it. So Netflix switched strategies. Quietly, subtly. They started leaning into nostalgia, reposting old clips of Henry Cavill as a tribute to the show's history. They never mentioned his name directly in connection with Liam, but the implication was clear. They were trying to remind fans of what they used to love, hoping some of that goodwill would transfer over. It didn't. Fans saw it as manipulation, a desperate attempt to cash in on Cavill's legacy. Then, a leaked email made its way online. Supposedly, an internal memo advising marketing teams to limit actor commentary and focus on world building and story content. In other words, stop letting Liam talk. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Just days before the premiere, new focus group reactions surfaced. Early screenings that described Season 4 as visually stunning but emotionally flat. Some said Liam's performance was fine but hollow. Others said the story lacked the grit and soul that defined earlier seasons. Meanwhile, Netflix's stock took a small dip. Not huge, but noticeable enough for investors investors to start asking questions. The Witcher, once their fantasy powerhouse, was now a liability. And all the while, Henry Cavill remained completely silent. Not a word, not a post, nothing, just silence. That silence haunted everything. Fans started interpreting it as a statement, a quiet, confident, I told you so. By the time the countdown to October 30th hit, even mainstream audiences, people who hadn't followed the drama, knew something was wrong. You couldn't scroll for 5 minutes without seeing a meme, a meltdown clip, or a headline about Liam Hemsworth versus the fans. It was no longer just about one show or one actor. It was about trust. And for Netflix, once that trust was gone, there was no patching it up. But for Liam, the story wasn't over yet. Because while Netflix was bracing for the premiere, Liam was preparing one final message. And what he said made the storm even louder. It happened the night before the premiere. Fans were counting down to the release. Critics were posting early reviews, and Netflix was trying desperately to steer the conversation back toward the actual show. Then, out of nowhere, Liam posted a single Instagram story, just a black background, white text. Tomorrow, you'll see what real change looks like. That was it. No explanation, no video, no follow-up post, just that one line. Within minutes, screenshots were everywhere. Some fans roasted it, calling it a dramatic trailer for his own downfall. Others said it sounded like a threat, a final swing at the audience that turned on him. But it worked. The hype, or rather the curiosity, exploded. YouTube channels went live speculating what the message meant. Twitter threads filled up with theories. Was it a diss at Cavill, a message to the fans, or was Liam hinting at something unexpected in the show itself? Then midnight hit. The Witcher Season 4 went live, and for a few hours, the world went quiet. Everyone was watching, but by sunrise, the reviews started rolling in. Headlines read, The Witcher Season 4 drops, but fans still want Cavill back. Hemsworth tries his best, but Cavill's shadow remains. Netflix and Lost. Social media was relentless. Some viewers admitted Liam wasn't bad, but almost everyone agreed. He wasn't Geralt. Clips from his big action scenes were already being turned into parodies. Reaction videos titled, We Tried Watching The Witcher 4 So You Don't Have To, hit 1 million views overnight. And through it all, that same old hashtag resurfaced. Cavill was right. But in the midst of all the noise, something strange happened. A quiet shift. A few fans began saying they felt sorry for Liam, that maybe he never stood a chance, that maybe he wasn't wrong about the audience being unwilling to accept change. And that realization, as small as it was, sparked a conversation. Was Liam's downfall his arrogance, or the audience's refusal to let go of the past? It's the kind of question that doesn't have an easy answer, and that's exactly why the story won't fade. Because deep down, fans know this controversy isn't really about one actor. It's about what happens when a beloved story stops belonging to its fans. And so, as the dust settles, one truth lingers in the ashes of the backlash. Henry Cavill didn't have to come back. Liam Hemsworth didn't have to apologize. Because The Witcher, at least the version fans fell in love with, might never return. But here's the thing. In this age of streaming chaos, reboots, and fan wars, there's always another twist waiting just around the corner. And if this meltdown taught Netflix anything, it's that the continent remembers. Because once you lose the trust of your audience, no amount of magic can bring it back.